The economy is one of the most complicated tabs, and it's very difficult to understand. Fortunately, hovering over things can help a little bit. The main thing to keep note of is that all these little sliders go here to investments, so we'll talk about the sliders in the context of investments here in a second. First thing to look at is income. That's how much money is coming in a month. This is different from the yearly tax that I mentioned. The yearly tax is just this figure here that you get at the end of the year. So that's kind of a separate thing. The monthly income comes from several sources. Tax, which is just what the value of your provinces are. When I go over provinces, I'll explain why a province has a particular tax. The percentage next to it is the collection efficiency. England collects a little more than the base tax from everything, and that gives them 22.8 a month. Production is the goods that the province produces, and they just kind of give a value here. And early on, the efficiency is very low, so we only get about half the actual value of the goods we produce, which is 8.8 for the whole country. Not that great. Trade income is income from centers of trade. So if you don't have any merchants placed, you're not going to have any trade income. Same thing with production efficiency. We're not getting the full value out of there. Having high trade efficiency is good because it also makes your merchants stronger. So we're only getting 3.9 from here, but we only have merchants in 4 centers of trade and only 1 in each. If we had 5 in each, we would be getting a lot more income from trade. Gold income is just straight up money that's poured into your treasury for any province you control that produces gold. England doesn't have one. Tariffs are colonial income. So if we were to have a bunch of colonies in North America, we would have a lot of tariffs. Since we have none right now, they're producing no income. The only thing to note about this is you need ships in your navy for overseas provinces. One big or light ship for every province that you own overseas. And for England, pretty much all provinces are overseas, although overseas provinces that are on the same continent as your capital don't count. So Ireland, over here we have got Dublin, which is considerably, not part of the landmass of England, yet it isn't considered overseas because they're both part of Europe. So it's only going to be colonies in North America. And all of these are totaled up for your monthly income. So England's got an income of 35.6. Okay, big deal. The expenses are where you start to lose money every month. First you have investments, which are all these sliders, which I'll talk about, but for now let's just note that they total up to 35.5. So they take up almost all of our income for the month anyway. And no, you can't really control this. That's just, you can't ratchet down spending or stop spending on anything. You just can't do it. But there is a way to kind of adjust that. Advisor salaries, these great men of the court, they cost money every month. Not very much, but it does add up. Colonial and military maintenance, and also missionary maintenance. Basically, if you have colonists or missionaries working, they cost a little money to obtain. Military maintenance is you have to pay your troops. You can adjust this in various screens. For instance, on this screen you can change the missionary and colonial maintenance. If you set them down, then colonists and missionaries don't work very well, but you don't have to pay them as much per month. Interest is interest on loans. If you have to take out a loan, or if you choose to take out a loan, then you'll have to pay on interest. War subsidies are money that other countries are giving you to fight a war. Normally you're not going to have these as the player because the AI doesn't like giving them to you, but sometimes if you pick a fight with somebody that everybody hates, they'll start sending you money. Now you'll notice our expenses are a lot higher than our income, and that's pretty much unavoidable, so we're always going to be losing a little bit of money a month. There's a way around it, which I'll get to in just a second. Inflation is a very important stat. It's basically, in percentage-wise, how much more everything costs, and it's pretty much literally everything. Troops, buildings, investments. Inflation rises for a specific reason, which I'll talk about now. Okay, over here we have these sliders, and that's how much money is being invested in various technologies. So they all balance out. So there's a set amount of investment. Moving a slider changes the priority of the investment. The green bar represents how close they are to the next level. And this arrow lets you spend 200 ducats to get 100 investment, which is terrible. You're losing half your money. It's not worth doing. If we hover over government here, we'll see that we're researching level 18, and if we fully fund it, we will get it in January 1525. We also see the modifiers. We're getting 35.4 from the budget, and we're also getting some from King Henry, from the advisor, and from universities. And then at the very bottom, we see what we get if we go to Technology 18 in government, which would unlock the administrative monarchy government type, which isn't bad. Sometimes you don't get anything, but since you have to go through the levels in order anyway, sometimes you just have to do it. The only ones that are really different from government, production, trade, naval, and land, which just unlock new technologies, are stability and the Treasury. Stability is this figure that I mentioned above. You can invest in stability. So if we pour all our money in here, we won't be researching technology. Instead, we'll be trying to improve our stability, basically dumping money into public works and stuff like that. This tells us that we would get it in September of this year. So getting up to +3 would probably take about a year, maybe. Treasury is the way that you can offset this monthly deficit. Treasury is basically minting coins. So if we do this, we can mint a bunch of money by setting it all the way to the right, 35.5 a month. Now, our expenses are 0 for investments because we're not investing anything, and our monthly balance is 29.2. So wow, that's a lot of money a month. What's the big deal? Why not just do that and, never run a deficit? Well, this is the reason, if you hover over it, where we would get almost 1% inflation every year, which is very bad. After 10 years of that, everything's 10% more expensive. So if you need to pay for something, minting money for a few months isn't a bad idea. And if you want to keep the budget temporarily balanced for whatever reason, then you can do that. If I drag this slider here, now I have a balanced budget, but I also have less tech investment, which is kind of bad. And I'm still gaining a little bit of inflation. There are advisors and buildings which can reduce inflation, and so if you do that, you can essentially mint for free by keeping this value at 0 one way or the other based on the number of advisors and reduction things you have. But that does still reduce your investment. So if you can afford to run a deficit on a monthly basis, it's not a bad idea to do so, or else you might fall behind in technology.